I was Kenny's girlfriend at the time, his living girlfriend. Kenny had this accident in the year of 2002, and from the time he had the accident up until like maybe 2006 and 2007, I did go with him on his visits when he went to Memphis to see the doctor, when he went on his yearly physicals. Some of the times when he went on his physicals, he had to stay for that whole week, and we did notice the spot that he has now on his hip. And they even showed me how to treat it. They said like, oh, we just clean it with saline water, and then they had a saline solution water, and then they had an ointment that you put on it, and then just put some gauze on it. I remember at one time in point that home health did come in and take that up because it had gotten larger. And I also remember that when Kenny graduated from EMCC, he had this spot on his hip then because he had to use a donut to sit on. He had to cut it. I would help him make it, and would cut it out and put it on. This is the wound that I dressed each night for him. And when he was going to the hospital, to have his physicals, to have his yearly checkups and things like that, they never said anything about it. Just told us how to treat it, and we treated it as such. In 2010, I remember he had to have home health again for that same area that's on his hip. In October 2014, I called Kenny one day, and we were talking, and he told me about the hole that was in his hip, and I agreed that I would go to Memphis with him to the VA hospital. And when we got to the VA hospital, and I always, like even before then, when we would go to the hospital, I always went in the room with him when he saw the doctors, when he went to whatever they did to him, I was always there. In October 2014, when we went to Memphis to the hospital, and while he was waiting on the doctor, then I went in the room with him to wait on the doctor also. And after they undressed him, I was allowed to go in the room, and I looked at it and I saw it. When I went through the door, you could smell the odor coming from his body then, coming from this wound then, and it smelled like rotting flesh. And then when I went over, and looked at it, it was a hole, like the size of a quarter, and it was deep enough, like maybe to put your thumb or put your second finger all the way through it. And you could actually see his bone, and you could see the rotten parts around it. And like I say, the odor was real bad. And that's when he stayed in the hospital. They admitted him to the hospital. The infection from that wound had got into his bloodstream. He had to be quarantined. And they were supposed to wear the mask and the gloves and all that when they went in to see him, to treat him. And a lot of times they didn't. I was there one day when they came out of one room that said, put on your mask and your gloves and gowns before you go in and things like that. They went in this room and they did not do that. And then they came out and went across the hall to Kenny's room, and they did not put on masks, gloves, or anything like that. I know he's trying to go to school. He's been trying to go to school. It seems like when it gets almost time for the end of the school year, he has to drop out. And this has probably been since 2007 or 2008. So it's been probably for about the last six years that he's been trying to go. And because of this infection, because of this wound, then he cannot, because once he gets that wound, he has to be bedridden. And he's usually bedridden for a month, anywhere from 1 to 3 months, at a time. And I know it has greatly affected, his well-being and his state of mind, because anytime when you have been treated, and they say that you've been treated for something like that, and it keeps coming back, and I feel like that they didn't treat it right the first time, because there's no way that when he went to the hospital in May for his yearly checkup, they could not detect that hole that was in his hip then. And that's it.
I'm a paralyzed disabled veteran. And in 2004, I had a skin breakdown on my right side of my hip. And it's called an ulcer or a bed sore. It was about the size of a quarter. And in 2004, I remember having it because I was going to community college. And I was trying to figure out a way to keep me from sitting on the soil, so I made a cushion, and I would put it under my hip and keep it right in front of that soil so it'll be in the air, because I want to continue school. I noticed I had got my medical records from the VA in 2004. It didn't mention nothing about me having a skin breakdown or anything, so, but it kind of upset me. The only thing they had in 2004 is if skin lesion worsen, seek medical attention. But don't say nothing like I had a skin breakdown. And in 2005, I went to the VA, and it didn't have I didn't have an ulcer or anything. But I remember precisely in 2005, when I graduated, I had the same cushion under my hip, because I remember having a robe on, and like every 5 minutes, 2 minutes or so, whatsoever, I'm always checking this cushion, making sure the sores I'm not sitting on it. But my girlfriend would go in the examination room with me every time I went to the VA. And she remember this 2015 now, but she remember back when we was going together that I had this. We went together from 2001 when I had my accident up to 2006. But she remembered the wound. But anyway, in 2004, 2005, I would go to the VA, and they told me to use saline water to clean it with. And they gave me some ointment to put on it, and I'd use gauze, some 4x4 gauze, which I had. I got 4x4 gauze anyway, and this 2-inch tape to take the gauze on to stay on, to keep the wound covered. But in 2006, in the VA's paperwork, it states that the patient states that the area on the right hip that he thought was healed it seems to start back. It's trying to come back. The wound is trying to come back, and it was times that the wound, I would get skin over the ulcer, and it'll last about 2 weeks or so, and the skin would come back, and I have an open wound, just a flesh open wound, red. But each time I went, 2004, 2005, and 2006, the nurse would tell me that the wound is red as pink, and just clean it with the saline water, put the ointment on it, thin coat of ointment on it, and put the gauze and tape it, and it'll be fine. Every year I would go up there, and they would tell me I'm doing everything fine. And then in 2006, I noticed in the VA records that they said that the skin was dry around it, and like it was an old ulcer, but it was a 3 centimeter ulcer, about the size of a quarter. It was still this size. She noticed, but it was dry. But evidently, skin was over there that time. And all through 2007, I had the same wound, and every time I went to the VA for my field school, they would tell me, just keep using the ointment. It really wasn't getting any bigger. It wasn't getting any larger, but it was there. And through 2007, it was the same thing, which in 2007, I got custody of my 7-year-old daughter at the time, which that's my baby. I got custody of her. and unfortunately, me and my girlfriend, we broke up. So it was like me and my daughter. But in 2008, when I went to the VA, It was like the first thing I seen in my paperwork was that they seen a 3 centimeter old site noted on right on my right side, on my right hip. They noticed that, but they say dry skin noted, and they put healed on it. But how can some be healed if I didn't have it? When they from 2004 on to 2000 up to 2008, they really haven't said anything that I had a skin breakdown. And none of my VA records from 2004 to 2008, no skin breakdown. But at the same time, I'm getting gauze, ointment, and stuff to treat it with, and I have no skin breakdown. But in all their records, they put in there no skin breakdown. And in 2009, in 2009, I mean, it's the, excuse me, I got to look through some of my notes because it's been some years. But in 2009, I received, supplies the whole year to treat my ulcer. And nowhere in the record said I had an ulcer. But I'm getting supplies from 2004 all the way up to 2009. I'm getting supplies from the VA to treat this wound. And each time, every year I went up there, from 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the nurse would tell me, it's red as pink, it's the right color, just keep treating it like you're treating it. Because it wasn't really getting any bigger. So, in 2010, I went up there, and while I was up there, the nurse treated the ulcer. She treated 2010 because I told them that I went to my local doctor because I got tired of the VA telling me the same old thing. I'm getting the same result. It's not trying to heal. And I went to my local doctor, and I got an outside agency to come in and try to help me get this wound healed, because I'm still sitting on that cushion every day, and really I began to hurt more for some reason. I figured it had to be an ulcer because I'm getting spasms and stuff. So my doctor had an outside agency come in 2010, and in 2010, this is some of the records they had from 2010. Just in 2010 when they treated me. This is the outside agency, but the VA, they in 2010, they just tell me just keep treating it like it were, but it wasn't getting any better. It wasn't getting any better in 2010. And moving along to 2011, I had the same agency helping me because they could only treat me for so many months at a time. Because I guess the Medicare and Medicaid wouldn't pay for the whole time they treated me. So they could only help me for so long. But in 2010, they helped me for about, I guess it was like 3 months. Matter of fact, it was like from February to July. They helped me in 2010. But I went to the VA, and I told them about the outside agency helping me. They're going to change the treatment. They told me don't use this, use this. So they changed the treatment plan. But so we continued in the ulcer. I mean, it didn't get any better. It didn't get any better. And the agency I was under, they was doing all they could. They were doing all they could. But in 2011, it was like Gentivo was helping me. In 2012, you know, I was just tired of the VA telling me the same old thing. Just clean it with the saline water, put the ointment on it, and put your gauze on it. So in 2012, I requested a x-ray. I want an x-ray to see why this ulcer not healing. So it's in my records. I requested an x-ray, and in 2012, I mean, I get copies from my VA records. I looked at my VA records for 2012, and I got a lady that come and helped clean my house for me since I'm disabled. But I read through some of my records, and I requested that I got it highlighted. I called the VA a couple of weeks before my day I was coming that I want an x-ray. But anyway, I got my records back, and I'm reading through my records, and I look, it's an x-ray result. And it said that they got a name for this ulcer, but I can't really pronounce the name. But anyway, it was saying that it had infection in it. Okay, but me, I'm in a hospital bed, looking through all these records, trying to look through all these records from 2004 to 2014, and some of my records, some of the paperwork had to fall, or some in my nurse or my daughter, they probably thought they were just trash and threw it away, and I couldn't find certain records so that I really wanted for 2012. So I wrote the VA and told them I want the record for 2012, and the records came back. Okay, I looked at my records. My homemaker was there. I said, I don't feel right about something. But she opened them up, and we read through the notes. It didn't say anything about the x-ray, didn't say nothing about the infection that I had. And I'm like, no, this can't be true. So I wrote the VA again. I asked them, just send me information about the x-rays and stuff I took. I didn't want nothing else. Just send me what x-ray was taken on me in 2012. I get stuff back, nothing about an x-ray on me. But the nurse in her progress notes, the first progress notes I got from the nurse had it was in there, and I only got 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of 2012 from the VA, trying to so I can prove to them that this thing, my ulcer was infected. But the last of the notes I just got last week was what? This is July 15th week, and it didn't even mention that I even requested for an x-ray. It's not even in this. And these are the last records I got. And each record I get for 2012 seem like, I mean, they are different. They're not even, the pages don't even match. A lot of the stuff, I mean, it's unreal. And it really bothers me because if this is happening to me, it'll happen to other veterans too. And this is not right for the VA to be doing. And like I said, my homemaker seen it. She seen what was on there. But this is my homemaker who saw the 2012 report that mentioned that my ulcer was infected.
Yes, my name is Audrey Brown. I came in, I'm Mr. Blair's homemaker. I was coming into work one morning and he was in there reading his papers. He called me into the room to show me the paper that showed that he had infection back in 2012. It said that he asked for an x-ray and that it came back positive that it was infected. The ulcer was infected. And a couple of days later, Mr. Blair's paper that said it was infected came up missing. So he requested for the paperwork to be sent out again. When he got the paperwork the second time, I opened it because he felt like it was not going to be the same as before. I opened the paperwork and we read the paperwork, and the x-ray, the mention of the x-ray or the fact that it was positive for infection was not in that paperwork.
Yeah, I'm upset because I know I had this infection, and I've been hurting. I've been hurting from time to time. I get fevers, and I'm not getting any better. In 2013, I went to the VA. They tell me the same thing. I go, they look at the hip, they tell me that they got a measurement on here, and they just tell me from the time they told me in 2004, all the way up to now, clean it with the saline water, put the ointment on it, and keep it covered with gauze. But Gentiva, they seen me. This just from the years of 11 and 12. They seen me. And this in 2013, the VA, they tell me, just go ahead and clean it. You're doing it's the right color, it's pink as red. And by this time, it done got bigger. Instead of that quarter, it's like at least a 50-cent piece. It done got a little bit, got a little bigger, but it's not just deep. But I'm tired of I'm using this every day. I got a daughter at home. I got to try to cook for her. Well, she done grown up a little bit now because it's 2013, and she can do a little bit more. But I got to I'm trying to go to school. I'm keeping this under this sore, but I want this sore here. The VA, I'm not getting any better. But so that's why I went to my doctor and got him to get me an outside agency to try to get me well. I might sound angry, which I am. I want to say some certain words that I can't say on camera, but it's tiresome and it hurts. It hurts because I know I done went through these years, and I done been in that VA hospital. I done seen how some of the patients been treated, and I hate to even think how many other veterans going through what I'm going through. It hurts me. It really hurts me. I love me. I want to get well, but I hate to think about what the rest of them going through, and that's why I'm doing this. This is the only reason, because I love my privacy. But I got to tell this, and it's hard not to. Hard for me not to. And like I said, in 2013, they measured the wound. It was 1.2 centimeters times 2.5 centimeters times 0.2. The red center, white outer rim. That's what they had on there in 2013. 2014, when they would treat me, I went up there in March. I went there in March of 2014, and the VA, I go through my physical, and the nurse tell me, yeah, it's the right color, same thing. It's red, pink is red inside and everything, and just keep cleaning with saline water and everything, and like I told them, I'm still trying to get agencies because, like I said, the Medicaid wasn't paying for them to treat me year round, but each time Gentiva came in, they would do the time they was allowed to do through Medicaid, and it still wouldn't be well. And I would tell the VA that. But anyway, in 2014, I went there. In February 2014. And it was March. It was February 2014, March. And they seen me, and they told me that I had a stage. They told me I had a stage 3 ulcer in 2014. That's what they told me. And the nurse told me the same thing. Wash it with that saline water. It's the right color. And just keep gauze on it. Just keep gauze on it. I got a stage 3 ulcer. When I told my nurse, because I do have a nurse that's coming to see me at the present moment, and she was like, no, that ain't right. And there's so much that I could say that haven't been right through these years with the VA in treating me with this ulcer. Yeah, in 2014, I went to the VA for my annual physical. It was on the 3rd of March. 11th of March, 2014. And when the nurse checked me, when I was checked, they told me I had a stage 3 ulcer. And I was told, they told it, as I was told in the previous time, clean it with saline water, the gauze cream, the whole step up. Well, from the years before, the exact same thing. And so, okay, I'm doing what they're telling me. Go from March, and every day, I'm cleaning this room at least twice, sometimes 3 times a day. And like I said, the wound went from a quarter size to the size of a 50-cent piece, so big, so big. And okay, we'll go through the year, and the month of September come in. And one night, I was cleaning the wound, and I saw a dog spot in the bottom of it. And I called my daughter in the room to look at it, because it was on the side of my hip. And my daughter said, Daddy, that looked like a hole. And I'm like, okay. So she went on, I cleaned it, as I used to do, and go ahead and put my gauze and everything on it. And about 2 days later, I got ready, as I was cleaning it, 2 days later, when I was cleaning it, my gauze just went, my wet gauze, I have wet gauze, and it just went in my hip, went down in my hip. And I mean, this here, it was, the hole on my hip was bigger than this. It was more like this. It just, in a matter of 2 days, it just exploded. It just with width. And to give you an idea what it kind of looked like, this is what it looked like. And this is in September. And I mean, I could take 2 or 3 gauze back to back and trying to clean it because it had such a smell to it. And I was still trying to get my education. And I had to go to school, and the doctor on campus, he just took half of the gauze. When he got about halfway, and he smelled it, he just covered it back up and just did a write-up report so I can get out of school. And I was having fevers. I don't know, I had to go around wherever I was. I had to have a face towel with me so I can wipe sweat because I was constantly sweating, constantly. And I went on to Memphis, and the doctor, I got there, like my friend, like I said, my old girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, the one that with me from when I first had my accident, she went up there with me and my daughter. And when they got me in the room, the doctor, my doctor wasn't there, but the doctor that came to see me, he told me that I couldn't leave the hospital because if I did, they would have to have somebody to stop me because that's how bad a shape I was in. But this the room, this a far away apart, this distance, and this room that I had over the years. And 2012, I know for a fact, I read on this paper from the x-ray, saying it was infected. It was infected. I didn't get no call, no medicine, or nothing from a doctor, no nurse, or nothing for an infection in my hip in 2012. So I know I had the infection for at least 2 years in here, if not sooner. But the doctor told me he could take his finger and reach down in here and touch my hip bone. And when he told me that, I mean, water just ran out of my face because I'm thinking about my daughter. I got a 14-year-old daughter. She got to stay somewhere else. Me and her never been apart. And it just threw me for a loop, seriously. But anyway, I went on and stayed in the hospital that day. And they did what they call a flap. And they pulled the skin, they took the skin from around this wound, which I stayed in the hospital like almost about, I'll say a month, on 2 different IVs, 24/7. They were giving me IVs. And my white blood cells got low. So they had to put me in quarantine for like 2 weeks because, trying to get the infection out of my leg. And they say I had ophthalmolitis in my hip. So that's what they were trying to get the infection so they can do an operation, which they call a flap. And this is what they did. They pulled the skin from one part of my body, where they took skin off my back. And then they, on my leg, this was down on my leg. This here was down on my leg, like down here. This part here. And that's how bad it looked when I first, but this after I got home. But this the part that came off my leg right after the surgery. This is what my leg looked like. And this was what this looked like after they did the flap. They pulled the skin and covered this, and this what was how it's supposed to have healed. This is what we hoping for. Heal up. And my doctor told me, so you'll be here for about 4 or 5 weeks. And I said, okay, no problem. And after 4 or 5 weeks, my doctor came in, whatever. I had a surgeon, little system surgeon come in every morning. He tell me everything is fine. That 5th week, my doctor came in. My doctor said, he came in on the left side of me. My surgeon was on the right side. But he came in smiling, happy. And I said, I don't want to call his name. Okay, but like I said, I don't want to call a doctor's name. But I left out some very important information before I had this surgery. My doctor that I had over the years, from the time I had the accident up to now, came to my hospital bed right about within that week after I first got in the hospital. And I asked my doctor, I said, doctor, I asked her, she's a female. I said, why didn't you do an x-ray on this ulcer to see if I had infection or anything? She said, me, I didn't want to get in the then want you to get in a radiation in your body. I said, what about CT scan? You still would have got radiation. I said, well, you could have did an MRI. Well, I didn't want you to lay on that hard table because that could cause you to get another ulcer. And I'm thinking, every time I came to the VA, every year for a physical, I had x-rays done. So they were just her way out. But I could not believe what I was hearing from my doctor. And I just told her, whatever. It's done, what's done is done. But, so evidently, they never did do an x-ray. I don't know why it was in the report back in 2012, but which I know I read it, but they took it out the report because it's not coming. It haven't showed up in the other copies that I requested. So evidently they didn't do an x-ray. They just put it in the paperwork. But as I said, my doctor came in my room and he had told me it's going to take 4 or 5 weeks. He said, you'll be out in about 4 or 5 weeks. But he came that 5th week. He came in joyful. Like, I just felt like I knew what he was going to tell me. I think he was going to tell me that I can be released. But I told him, I say, you need to come around and look on something over here, check something. Because I know I had this leakage. Because every morning that assistant surgeon would come in the room and he would take a gauze off and they'll have a little moist on it. And my doctor saw this spot. He went off. He said, this is not right. He said it just like that. And that let me know that I'm stuck. And he walked right on out the room. After about an hour or two, then the main surgeon, he came in the room and he looked at my wound. And he just point blank told me, we got to go back in. I got to do another surgery on you. You got infection in you. And I don't know how. How did they miss that infection at the beginning when they did the x-rays on me? They should have seen the infection. They should have known where to cut, what to do. You know, they got me thinking I'm going to be getting out of here. And I'm working with my daughter every single day. Every single day, because this is the first time we ever been apart. But, okay, this surgery, this happened the 27th of October. This when they did that flat. Okay, so we turn around on the 24th. I want to say the 24th of November. He set up for the operation on my hip. Yeah, it was the last, anyway, it was the last Monday in November. They operated on me again. The assistant surgeon told me, he said, we only gonna cut out, make a small cut because it's not big. That's what I was told by the assistant surgeon that come see me every morning. So, okay, everything fine. We can do this. And I'm figuring, okay, and I'm going to be able to come on home. And, okay, so we go and have the surgery. And when I came out of surgery, I had no idea what it looked like, but this man that came to dress it was telling me how big you were. But this is the picture. It's kind of dark. This was my second surgery. But you can see it clearly on the computer. And I could not believe that I done got cut worse the second time than I was the first time when it could have been prevented. In 2012, I had this infection. I know about. Probably before then, because the VA, before they did the X-ray in 2014, they didn't do an x-ray till I got ready to have this flap. So from 2004 or sooner, all the way to 2014, the VA never did an x-ray on my ulcer to see why it wasn't healing. And it was unbelievable. And I had to suffer. When I'm thinking the word suffer, when I think of the word suffer, and I never thought I would refer that word back to me, because I have suffered. I mean, not just because of these surgeries, because from the beginning of this ulcer up to 2000, from 2004 or sooner, all the way to 2000, this 15. It's 15. But anyway, after the operation, the doctor asked me would I stay in the hospital. He was going overseas for a week. And I told him I'd think about it, because the VA did set up a bed for me to come home. And after 5 days, I couldn't take it no more, because I just wanted to go home. I went home. And after being home for I got out on December the 5th. I got out by 14, December the 5th, 14. So I'm laying in bed, this in January. I'm laying in bed. When nothing wrong with me before, I always check my skin, make sure I was fine. You know, from time to time, through the month, every 2 weeks or whatever, I would check my skin to make sure I was all right. And because I know how easy it is to get an ulcer. I checked my skin, it was like, second week of January 15. Right here. Right there, that spot right there, that's an ulcer on my bottom, on my backside, that I received while I was laying in the hospital bed in Memphis. Because the people, the nurses, aides, or the nurses, I wasn't being trained in the bed the way I was supposed to. So, but at the time when I came home, I did have Gentiva. The VA did get the Gentiva, outside agency, nurses agency, to come and check on me 3 times a week. How often I needed the service. And, but anyway, I didn't want to be hospitalized because of that ulcer. I just wanted to go because VA wasn't getting permission over the phone to treat the ulcer on my bottom. So I went to the VA, and the doctor admitted me. And I told her I didn't want to be admitted. And she told me I'm going to have to be admitted if I want to get treatment for that. So I went on and let them admit me. And it was on a Wednesday when they admitted me. And when I got at the hospital on the December the 5th, I was on a wound vac. This is what they call a wound vac right here. This got a hose on it, and it keep my moisture. Matter of fact, today is July the 16th, 17th, and I'm still on this wound vac. This wound vac sucks the moisture off the wound, keep the wound dry. But my doctor admitted me in the hospital, and she gonna tell me at the time they didn't have a wound vac. They're gonna have to find a wound vac to hook it up. I stayed off this wound vac for 5 days. From that Wednesday to that Sunday, I woke up that Sunday morning, I saw it sitting over to my right, over by the window. Monday passed. And Tuesday, the wound vac nurse, they call it. I never heard of the wound vac nurse, but she came in and she come to check my wound, and she asked me why was the wound vac hooked up. I said, they told me they had to wait on this man to come from his vacation before they can hook it up, because they didn't have nobody know how to hook it up. But she said, why didn't they call me? Because I know how to hook it up. So she went on and hooked it up. That was on that Tuesday. That Wednesday, I was discharged. And I could not believe that I was in the hospital, you know, with not being hooked up to this wound vac. But the wound care nurse say, why didn't she call me upstairs to the outpatient facility where you came? Because I wouldn't have admitted you into this hospital for this. And I said, well, who you supposed to be? She said, I'm the wound care nurse. I give the doctors, I'm the one that get a doctor certain orders, what procedures go about to get your wound healed. I said, well, I didn't know there was a such thing as a wound care nurse. She said, yeah, when you have a wound, the doctors call me for me to come and check your wound, and I make recommendations how they should go about healing your wound. And I'm thinking, I've had this one on me since at least 2004, and this 2014, I done went through hell all these years and surgeries. This is my first time meeting this lady when I come back because I got one on my backside. But this is what I done went through. I just got, because I hate to think of all the other veterans, what they might be going through. But I went through this at the VA Medical Center in Memphis, Tennessee, the SCI ward. And my doctor, she know it, and she couldn't explain. I can understand why I couldn't have, I didn't deserve an x-ray throughout these years. I'm worth the x-ray, at least an x-ray. Why my wound wasn't healing all this time? And I go back, I just happened to just look at my records. I went back and looked at my records, just the good Lord just threw this in my face. I look back in 2002 and 3. This medication, what medication you order? And I was just thinking. I remember in 2004, I was going to school, and I had this under my hip, this pad under my hip. And I had to happen to look, the 2-inch wide tape, 4x4 gauze, and some ointment. And I'm like, I had this before 2004. So I don't know how long I had my wound, but I know I had it since 2004. And it's sad that I had to go this long and suffer this long because I'm being neglected. That's all it is, neglect. And the Secretary of Veteran Affairs, please look into this, because this ain't right. And I done went through it. Other veterans going through it. Somebody needs to look into this. And I want to put this out. And whatever consequences for me, so be it. Because this ain't right. And I think whoever read this, thank you just for hearing me out. Because this is wrong. Thank you. Y'all have a good day. Yeah, and I forgot, my nurse that see me, she told me that the wound is too bad for them just to make an opinion, that I need a specialist to see me at least once a week, or at least once every 2 weeks, because the wound is too bad for without a doctor to see me. So I had to go to my own personal doctor to get him to refer me to a wound specialist, which I had to drive an hour once a week to see this wound specialist, because the VA, they didn't make an appointment to see me at all. I got a letter in the mail from the VA saying that they'll see me in 2016. So I had to find my own wound specialist so I can be seen, so I can get my wound healed. And at the time, at this moment, it's a possibility that I got to have another surgery. I just seen a surgeon on the 15th of July this year, 2015. I just seen a surgeon Wednesday. And he said he might have to do another surgery. So I'm going through that right now. Oh, by the way, the government talking about ending my educational benefits because I'm not able to go to school because of my physical condition. And I just wanted to say, I'm a God-fearing man, and everything I just said is true. Thank you.